Right. Maybe flip it around. All right, there we go. What's going on, Facebook world? Yeah, I know y'all see the title. I read this in the Bible, and I never went back to church again. And how I got on that subject or ended up leaving the church because I was in the midst of studying about what they call the mark of the beast. And due to time, I'm not gonna get into the whole aspect of that, but it's basically, the mark of the beast, you know, in some aspects is the philosophies of this world and things we've been taught and the way life is, how we see it. And it's not according to. And for the record, we do believe that the mark of the beast is the RFID chip, the microchip that they planning on implanting everybody with, the Neuralink, whatever you want to call it. So just we just breaking down, going into the other you know aspects of the mark of the beast, as far as the customs of this of Babylon, and how the customs of Babylon is eventually going to cause a lot of people to take the mark of the beast. To better explain it. The right knowledge that we should be following. So with that understanding, as I was studying, I realized that going to church on Sunday could give you the mark of the beast. And I mean, amongst other things, though, but that was like one of the scriptures that, got me to try to see what this all about. So, I mean, let me just show you just a couple scriptures that kind of showed me and led me to my belief. So this is Daniel chapter 7 and 25. But before I start, me give all praises to the Most High Yahweh and His Son Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly called God, and His Son Jesus Christ. But in Hebrew, Yahweh, Jesus' name in Hebrew, Yahweh Shai. So this is Daniel 7 and start at 7 and 25, right? So, I mean, you're not going to hear this in church. Pastor's not going to open up this book and show it to you. He's going to speak about what he's been wanting to tell you about the whole week. He ain't going to go into this book. You're lucky if you get like one or two scriptures when you go to church. And then you might get those and it won't be anything pertaining to what the scripture is talking about. So, let me get to Daniel real quick. 1 second. Daniel. So yeah, I mean, so understanding the mark of the beast and how it's implemented and how it applies today, because it tells you here. Boom. And this is 7 and I'm gonna start at 19. So this is Daniel chapter 7, start at 19. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the other, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which devoured and broke in pieces and stamped out all the residue at his feet. So what it's talking about is the Roman army and their military might and how they conquered the known world and broke down all the different governments. So then it says, "In the 10 horns which were in his head, the other which came before who three, wait, hold on, before whom three fell, and that horn that had eyes and mouth and spake great things, who was more stout than the fellows." So now it's another horn coming up amongst these 10 horns, who's more proud and more, you know, uh, is more violent than the rest of the horns. And that would be, like I said, the Roman Empire, and leading into what we call today as America, because America is just an extension of that Roman Empire. So this is verse 20, and no, verse 21. And, when, and I behold, the same horn made war with the saints. And who's the saints? You can read about who the saints is in Book of Proverbs, Book of Psalms, and the saints are the Israelites, the Black, Hispanic, and Native American. Not who the Catholic Church say is the saints. They got all these pictures of Edomites telling you that they're saints. But the Bible's very clear on who the saints is, and the saints is the children of Israel. And it tells you that they made war with us. So when you go into the history of 70 AD, you can see that the Roman Jewish wars during that time and how they conquered us and expelled us out of that land. Then we got taken into Europe, Northern Africa, the west coast of Africa, and a lot of us stayed on the west coast of Africa until they came and got us again in the 1400s. So then it says, and thus he had 4 beasts. Just he said the 4 beasts shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse of all the kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and tread down and break in pieces. And the 10 horns of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall rise, and another shall rise at them. And he shall be more diverse from the first, and he shall subdue all 3 kings. So now this is kind of jumping back and forth from the Roman empire into the American empire. It was when America came in power, they took down England, took down France, they took down Spain. So those 3 horns that the Bible is talking about that he took down. So now he took down those 3 countries. America got its independence. We learned about that, the Revolutionary War and all that crazy stuff. So he's proud now. Now he's on his own. He's standing up, right? But now it's kind of jumping back to the Roman Empire, and it says, and he spoke great words against the Most High, and and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. And he thought to change times and laws that was given into his hand until the time and the dividing of time. So what that means is, during the Roman Empire, they made certain laws and certain provisions that the Israelites couldn't do. And one of those laws was worshiping on the day of the Lord, which is Saturday. But here in America, we say the day of the Lord is Sunday. We go to church on Sunday. So I'm reading this and I'm understanding, because like I said, I was trying to figure out and understand what is the mark of the beast. So, and I mean, this is not the only aspect of the mark of the beast. There's many different points, but this is the one that kind of, made me want to look at this a little again. So it's saying it's going to divide times and change the times. So it changed the worship during Constantine. It changed the worship from Saturday to Sunday to the first day of the week, because they wanted to mix in the paganism into the religion that they call Christianity. So so with that understanding, so I'm looking at it like, okay, well, maybe going to church on Sunday is not, the right thing, because here it's telling you that they're going to change the times and the seasons and the things that we was doing, because the Roman Empire took over. So go to Matthew, go to the New Testament, Matthew 7 and let's say 7 and 12. Let's start at 12. So this is Matthew 12. It's Matthew 7 and 12. It says, therefore, all things, whatever what that man should do, uh, do ye even so to them, for this is the law of the prophets. Enter ye into the straight gate. Wide is the gate and broad is the way to destruction, and many there which will go into it, right? So now what that's saying is narrow is the path and broad is the way of destruction, right? So I had to think about this. What is the biggest religion on the world in the world? One of the biggest religions is Christianity. You got 1 billion Christians around the world. And here the Bible is telling you that broad is the way to destruction. So if we got 1 billion Christians in the world, that's a lot of people. That's not the broad way. 1 billion and something people, that's not the broad way. So it's telling you narrow is the path and few that find it. So understanding that they're going to change the times of when we worship, and then it also tells you that broad is the way of destruction and narrow is the path and few that find it. So you got to ask yourself a question. Christianity, Catholicism, and all that stuff, got the biggest following in the world. That cannot be the way according to the Bible. Because if that's the way, then because the Bible tells you that the gospel got to be preached all through the four corners of the world. And we know that Christianity is everywhere. You can go to a remote island in the Pacific somewhere, and they know about white Jesus. So that cannot be the way. You can go to any country in the world, and they know about a white Jesus or some fashion of Christianity. So that cannot be the way, because according to the Bible, the gospel has to be preached around the world. So then, with that being understanding, it's like, so what is the truth? So it says, enter into the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads into destruction, and many there go therein. Because the straight gate is narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there will be that find it. So it's telling you that very few people are going to find this narrow path. And you can Google and see that it's 1 billion and something people that follow in Christianity. That cannot be the way, because Jesus himself, our main man Jesus, who the world ignorantly call Jesus' real name Yahushua, he says very few is going to find the truth. So how could Christianity be the way if that's one of the biggest religions in the world? We got to ask ourselves that question if you are really trying to seek and understand. And it says, beware of the false prophets who come to you sheep clothing, and outwardly they are ravishing wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs in thistles? Even so, good tree bear good fruit, but corrupt trees bear evil fruit, right? So what that's saying is, like, look at the Christian church and just look at religion, not this religion as a whole. Like, how detriment has it been to this world following a certain religion? You got something called Christianity, and they went around the world robbing, stealing, and killing everybody in the name of white Jesus, right? So, and converting everybody, and it's telling you that is, it's the false way, because if the gospel got to be preached around the world, and we know Christianity is everywhere, so like, what's really going on? So we got to ask these questions. And let's see where we at. So, and you want to, make sure that you following the right way, or at least attempting to try to figure this out. Because what it saying? Because it says, many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have I not prophesied in your name? Have I not cast out devils in thy name and done many wonderful works. Because you got, those little Christian churches, they be laying their hands on your forehead, people be falling out, and everybody be acting all crazy. Oh, thank you, Jesus, all that crazy stuff, right? Or, you got pastor pulling up in a Bentley, Mercedes, or whatever. So people will look at the outer appearance and think, okay, that man's blessed. That man is, is something there, right? But it's telling you, in that day, you don't want to be that guy that, Jesus, I say Jesus because that's what, most of us call him. Yahweh Shai, who he, you know, you don't want to be that guy run up to Yahweh Shai and he look at you like, hey, yo, I don't know you. And you done call yourself going to church every day, giving your tithe money, doing all this crazy stuff for the church, just to end up losing your soul at the end because you're following a false doctrine. Because it says, broad is the way to destruction and narrow is the path that finds it. And we don't ask that question because Christianity is such an arrogant religion that it makes everybody think that they're doing right in their own mind. And that's dangerous. Because the Bible says, above all things, the heart is deceitful, and who can know it? But everybody say, God know my heart. Yeah, he do know your heart. He know your heart is wicked as hell. That's what he know. So we got to understand what's really going on here. So I'm gonna jump to First John. This First John. Where we at with First John? We First John, right? Look, 5 and 3. Because it's important. We got to understand what's really going on. Because the church is not going to tell you this. The church is going to give you a feel good message, just enough to go in your pockets and take your money. They're not really warning you what's really happening, not letting you know that, Pastor went to a seminary school. He learned from the same people that took us captive. So you really think that they're going to teach the truth of the Bible? That's crazy to even think that. When they go in these seminary schools, they learn what the oppressors tell them to learn. They don't learn thus said the Lord. And so you got to understand that when you get into this, because you're not going to get, thus said the Lord when you go to these churches. You're going to get what pastor says. And I'm going to get to, where is it? Where we at? Where's that? Okay. So this first 5 and 3, right? Go back. But yeah, John. First, let me go there. But before I go there, like I said, you gotta understand, like, so going to these churches and sitting there, yeah, you get a good feel good message. You might as well go to a one of those motivational speakers, because that's basically all it is. It's a motivational speech, but they hold in the Bible. Now, I'm okay with a good motivational speech, but just don't portray it like you're a man or God with a Bible in your hand, and you're not even opening up the book and reading it. And we don't even, look at that. Like Joel Overstein. Joel Overstein will sit there and tell you a good story and never open up that Bible, but walk around with the Bible in his hand the whole time. And we got to get out of that, because that's leading us into distraction and not really fully understanding what's cracking out there. Because they're not going to tell you, and their plan is not to tell you. And then, because the Christian church get a what they call a 501c3, whatever that shit is, so they have to tell you what the government tell you. If they say anything different than what the government think they should be teaching, then they get shut down. They funding stop and all that stuff. So it's like so they gotta tell you the little stuff that they say, because that's what keep the money flowing. Because they give you a good feel good message, and then good enough to go in your pockets and take your money. So this is First John 5 and 2. I'm gonna start at 2. By this we know we love the children of God when we keep His commandments. And you're not gonna learn that in church. Church tell you that the laws of God is dead, but it says we know we love the children of God when we keep His commandments. For this is the love of God. So everybody say they love God. Everybody talk about, oh, I love God. God know my heart. I love God. God, love Him. But here in the Bible it tells you how to love God and what is the love of God. It gives you the definition. It tells you. It says, "For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not grievous." Meaning, it's not hard to keep His laws. But in church they tell you, "Oh no, you got to do the law," or everybody sins. I was talking to somebody last night talking about, well, we all sinners. I'm like, well, the Bible says he that sinners is of the devil. So are you saying you're a devil? Because that's basically what I'm hearing. Because we don't know that. Because we taught that, okay, yeah, everybody's supposed to sin and we're sinners and everybody. That's supposed to be your old life. You're not supposed to continue on in those same ways. But the church will have it. You can do that because they're not teaching you God's laws. They tell you that the laws are done away with. But here it tells you, "For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not grievous," meaning they're not hard. Like, this ain't hard to put fringes on your shirt, grow your beard out. That's just two right there. That's not even in the so-called 10 that people most commonly familiar with. It's 613 laws, but they're not hard. It's just that we have to learn them. And we're not going to learn them going to church because churches tell you that the laws are done away with. But yet, they want your tithe money. So, you mean to tell me the laws are done away with, but you need my tithe money? But according to the law, tithe is part of the law. So you can't. So the pastor is picking and choosing what he wants y'all to do, right? So it says, for who for who for whatsoever is born of God cometh into the world, and this is the victory that overcome the world, even with our faith, right? So, like I said, so we got to keep the commandments and the faith of God, and like I said, and you find the commandments in the first 5 books of the Bible, and and they kind of scatter out throughout, but that's where you'll find most of them at. But again, church would tell you, open up the Bible to the middle of the book and start reading from the New Testament. Nobody ever picks up a book and start reading it from the middle. How you gonna understand what it's talking about? You pick up the book and start reading it from the middle. All the history that led up into Jesus being born, you find that in the Old Testament. And you're not gonna understand it and why he's here and what is he came to do if you don't know what happened before that. That's crazy. You're not gonna start watching a movie, in the middle of it, or just watch maybe like 15 minutes of the movie and go around telling everybody how good the movie is and you know about the movie. That's crazy. There's only so much you can say. So, and but they tell you, don't worry about the laws, the Old Testament, and all that crazy stuff. But in actuality, it's all go together. There's no such thing as Old Testament, New Testament. That's just the words that they put on, but there's no difference. Even when you read the New Testament, Jesus, the disciples, all them people, they quoting from the Old Testament because that's what they had to read. They had the scriptures to read. They wasn't just freestyling and making up stuff like how a pastor would have you believe. Like they didn't, no, they followed the law, and Jesus taught to follow the law. So now this is I'm go to John and 14 and 15 real quick for you. Let me thank John. It's John. So, but yeah, it's just like when you get into this and you start reading for yourself, then you start saying like, hold on, you think about all the stuff that he was taught in church, and you line it up to what you're reading, and you will see that it has nothing to do with none of that stuff. It says, this is John 14 and 15. It says, if you love me, keep my commandments. And everybody talking about they love God, but they don't know not one commandment. They might know a little bit of the 10 commandments, but that's, pretty much cliche. I mean, because that's the only thing they probably gonna teach you in church. And in church, they don't even keep the Ten Commandments because they have you going to church on Sunday. Then they also tell you that Jesus is God, and that's breaking the very first commandment of putting another God, worshiping another God. So, like I said, when you get an understanding, or looking for the understanding, you'll see that the things that they teach in those churches is not in the Bible. So I would tell you, the Bible is true, Christianity is fake, and that's just the reality of it. Because Christianity is man-made. You cannot find the word Christianity in the Bible. You can't. You can find the word Christian, but when the word Christian was used, that was used as a derogatory way to refer to us. Let me show you that real quick. This Acts. Let me go to Acts 13:1 real quick. Where we at with Acts 13:1. And Pastor not gonna read this stuff to you. He really ain't. Acts 13:1. It says, now tell me who is this talking about? Who is this talking about? Now there were in the church at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas, Simeon. So now these is the disciples, and they in Antioch, doing their thing or whatever, right? So and now this is a record of them, and what they're doing. So it says Simon, Barnabas, and Simon that was called nigger. Now who the hell they call nigger today? Now this is in the Bible, Acts 13:1. They called the prophets of God, the disciples of God, nigger. But you go to some of these churches or some of your grandparents' homes, you got a white Jesus sitting up there. You got white disciples, white John, all of them, white. But here it tells you, now there were in a church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, who was called nigger. So what are we talking about? So, when we understand that this book is kind of like what the FUBU, for us, by us. And when you understand that this was written by black people, for black people, and not a white man book, because this Bible actually condemns the white man. And another day I'll probably show you that too. But right now we're just dealing with the reason why I left the church. But like I said, so it tells you right there, Acts 13:1, that they was called niggas, right? And we all know who they call nigger today. They ain't going around calling those so-called people over there with the little things and the little thing, you know what I'm talking about. Gotta be cool on here. They ain't calling them niggas, right? So, so we get into what's this? Now, even the second address, that's in the Apocrypha. A lot of people talk about like, oh, that's not the complete Bible. You got all these other. Yeah, I got that. It's not in this book right here though, but I do got the Apocrypha. And in the Apocrypha it says second address. Second address was that second address that 15 and 24, it tells you destruction to those who don't keep my commandments. So you cannot go through one chapter or one book in the Bible without hearing God telling you to keep his commandments. But then the church would tell you not to keep the commandments, So we have a problem here because God is saying keep the commandments, but you go to church, they tell you that the laws are done away with. All you got to do is believe in Jesus, right? But you're not going to find that in the Bible. You will never find, you don't have to do nothing that God tell you to do, just believe. That's crazy. Serial killers believe in Jesus. You know how many people locked up on death row right now that believe in Jesus? So what did that mean? You know how many serial rapists or drug dealers or wherever you want to, all walks of life that, claim that they know Jesus, but, what did that mean? I mean, so you got to keep the commandments because love is an action. Love is not just an emotion. Just like we read earlier, it says, he that loves me will keep my commandments. Love is an action, and you have to keep the commandments. And let me jump down to go to Proverbs real quick. So go to Proverbs. What's that? 3 and 1. Proverbs 3 and 1 real quick for the people. Where we at? So Proverbs 3 and 1. Oh, says, "My son, forget not my laws, but let thy heart keep my commandments. For the length of days and long life and peace shall be added unto thee." So it's telling you, you keep the laws of God and follow his ways, you have a long, prosperous life. And we wonder why we out here getting shot down in the streets by the police, uh, all these illness, you know, these illness and different things that come on us. And, and a lot of times we end up dying before, our rightful age. Like 60 is not old. A lot of people, a lot of our people die in their 60s. A lot of our people die in their 70s. That's not old. When God promised that we shall live for 125 years, 60 is not old, compared to that. But we dying out here at an early age, sometimes even younger than that, because we're not keeping the commandments. And the reason is because the church is not teaching us to keep the commandments. Only commandment the church teach you to keep is tithes. And that should be alarming to anybody. So I'm going to what's that? I'm going to Proverbs 4:4 too. He taught me also. This is Proverbs 4:4. He taught me also and said to me, "Let thy heart retain my words and keep my commandments and live." So that's how you live. You go to church, you see pastor with the Rolex and the nice little thing. You think he out here living? That's not how you live. He's not keeping the commandments. He's fattening his pockets. That's what he's doing off of your money. While you struggling to pay your bills, he pulling up in a nice car. Then when you go to pastor and ask him to get some help, they looking at you crazy. So then we got to think about these things, Because we go back to what's that? Go back to First John. Go back to First John real quick, because like I said, and can we go to we when we get into this stuff and we see that we've been lied to, crafty counsel, and a lot of these pastors know the truth. And because I was talking to a pastor, and they know who we are. Now I kind of somewhat, I left him alone because I see that he's slowly trying to, bringing it on the people, because he cut down like some of the little pagan holidays and stuff like that, So I kind of left him alone on that. But at the same time, we ain't got no time to just be pussyfooting around trying to slowly do shit, because people need to know. Because we've been following this for like all our life, and like I said, and we've been following this stuff all our life, and then it's like what? It's like we don't understand what we should be doing. That's why nobody can tell you anything about God. That's crazy. You got in a black neighborhood, you got churches on every dang corner. You ask a person about God, is very limited that they can tell you. You ask a person what's God's name. I don't know God. Like, what are you learning? That's crazy. You should God's name, like, that's a title. First of all, the word God is a title. All right, and God's real name is Yahweh. That's his real name, Yahweh, not God. Somebody called trying to get your attention. They're gonna call your name. They're not gonna just say a word and hope you respond to it. They're gonna call your name. So we got to learn his real name. His real name is Yahweh, and his son name is Yahweh Shai. So, and we gotta get into this thing because, like I said, it's important and it's too late. It's getting too late. you know, and you don't want to be on that other side trying to figure this thing out. Because then it's really going to be too late for you. Where we at? Hold on, I'm going to, what did I say? Was it John something? Let me see. Hold on, let me go back to John. Hold on, let's see where this at. But yeah, so yeah, like, so we got to understand what's really happening. And let me see, right? I'm going to go to John 2 and 4. It says, He is the preparation, He is the preparation for our sins, and not ours only, but also the sins of the whole world. And hereby we know that we know Him, because everybody talk about, yeah, I know Jesus, I know God, and all that stuff. You hear everybody saying that stuff. Everybody you talk to, you know, they go to church, they say, yeah, I know God, you know, I got a personal relationship with God, but here it's telling you, hereby we know that we know Him if we keep His commandments. So how many of us is keeping the commandments of God? So how could you honestly say you know Him when you don't even keep not even the least commandments? And for us men out there, I'm talking about the beard. That's or not shaving your head bald, or not. That's just the least of the commandments, you know. So it says, hereby we know that we know Him if we keep His commandments. He that said, I know Him and keep not His commandments is a liar. So you got everybody going around saying, I know God, I know Jesus, I know Jesus. But Jesus just said, if you do not keep His commandments, you don't know Him and you're a damn liar. That's what He said. So we got to understand what's really going on out here, because you're not going to learn it in church. And these few verses is what allow me to step away from the church, because I understood that they're not teaching us the right thing. And if you care anything about your soul, you would want to know the right thing. Because, like I said, Christianity can be a very arrogant religion, because it can make you think that what you're doing is right, and everything else, you know, everybody else is what they doing is wrong. And we got to get out of that prideful attitude. You got to always check yourself every day. Make sure you're doing what thus said the Lord. Make sure you're on the right, straight and narrow path, because it's so easy to go this way and that way, especially if you don't have the right understanding. So it tells you, he that says, I know Him and keep not His commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. So, I mean, we want to be on that other side trying to figure this thing out. Because then it's really going to be too late for you. So, where we at? Hold on, I'm going to, what did I say? Was it John something? Let me see. Hold on, I'm going to go back to John. Hold on, let's see where this at. But yeah. So yeah, like, so we got to understand what's really happening. And let me see, right? I'm going to go to John 2 and 4. It says, He is the preparation, He is the preparation for our sins, and not ours only, but also the sins of the whole world. And hereby we know that we know Him, because everybody talk about, yeah, I know Jesus, I know God, and all that stuff. You hear everybody saying that stuff. Everybody you talk to, you know, they go to church, they say, yeah, I know God, you know, I got a personal relationship with God, but here it's telling you, hereby we know that we know Him if we keep His commandments. So how many of us is keeping the commandments of God? So how could you honestly say you know Him when you don't even keep not even the least commandments? And for us men out there, I'm talking about the beard. That's or not shaving your head bald, or not. That's just the least of the commandments. You know. So it says, hereby we know that we know him if we keep his commandments. He that said, I know him and keep not his commandments is a liar. So you got everybody going around saying, I know God, I know Jesus, I know Jesus. But Jesus just said, if you do not keep his commandments, you don't know him and you're a damn liar. That's what he said. So we got to understand what's really going on out here. Because you're not going to learn it in church. And these few verses is what allow me to step away from the church because I understood that they're not teaching us the right thing. And if you care anything about your soul, you will want to know the right thing. Because, like I said, Christianity can be a very arrogant religion because it can make you think that what you're doing is right and everything else, everybody else is what they doing is wrong. And we got to get out of that prideful attitude. You got to always check yourself every day. Make sure you're doing what thus said the Lord. Make sure you're on the right, straight and narrow path. Because it's so easy to go this way and that way, especially if you don't have the right understanding. So it tells you, he that says, I know him and keep not his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. So, I mean, we gotta take that. I mean, because a lot of us go around and say we know Jesus, but we don't follow not one commandment. Don't even know that we should follow commandments. Just out here, just living. But then we say we know God, but He's calling you a liar. That should make anybody feel any type of way. If you have any type of, you know, love for, the Most High, you should don't want Him to call you a liar. You should want to be on the other side of that. You know. So you get and a lot of people like. Matter of fact, I'm go to Isaiah. I'm going to Isaiah 56 real quick. I ain't gonna be too long with it though. I know a lot of us got a short attention span. So this is 56. Isaiah 56 and 10, right? Start right. And then this is what the church is doing. This is why we got to pay attention. We got to ask these pastors what's really good and question them and hold them accountable because they don't know. Because it says, ye beasts of the field come and devour ye. I'm jump down to 10. All right. His watchmen are blind. Talking about these pastors out here, and they call themselves going to seminary schools and stuff and want to teach the words of God. It says his watchmen is blind. They are ignorant and dumb dogs. You know what a dumb dog is? A dumb dog is a dog that allows anybody to break into your house. He don't bark. He don't let you know anybody coming your way or nothing. He just lay there. Act like he's asleep. That's what a dumb dog is. That's what these pastors do now. They're not telling you that Russia, Ukraine, the Russia, China, Iran, and all them niggas about to blow this whole thing up. They ain't telling you that because that's gonna take money out their pocket. And again, they don't teach the laws of God, but they do tell you to go in your pockets and give them that tithe money. So it tells you his watchmen are blind, they're ignorant, and they are dumb dogs. They cannot bark. The pastor's not barking and telling you, hey, stop doing what you're doing. God is going to kill you. He's not dealing with that type of stuff. He's not going to tell you that because pastor can't talk like that. Pastor got to talk like he's seducing somebody. He got to talk like Joe Osteen, all soft and all that, craziness. Like he's trying to seduce somebody. That's crazy, right? So it says, they are all, they cannot bark. They're sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Because they don't care about y'all. They don't really care. They just want that money. And I know we all seen that video a couple of weeks ago, that pastor cursing out his congregation because he couldn't get a Novato watch. That's crazy, right? He supposed to be teaching the words of God, and he worrying about a damn watch. And he getting mad at y'all because y'all not able to produce that watch for him. Because it says, they are greedy dogs, which can never have enough. Your Creflo Dollar, your TD Snakes. Yeah, I said TD Snakes. Creflo, take your dollar. Them people, Joel Augustine, all these mega churches people are greedy dogs. That's why they're not telling you the truth of the Bible. That's why they're giving you a good motivational speech. I have no problem with that. Just don't do it with the Bible in your hand. That's all I'm saying. Because then you're misleading the people. And then I have a problem with that. So they're greedy dogs which never have enough, and they what is it? And they never have enough. They are shepherds that cannot understand. They're shepherds that cannot understand. You go to the pastor and ask him a question, he'll tell you, I don't know, go pray about it. I don't know. Because he don't know the Bible. Pastor would do not know this book right here. He don't know it. If he did, he would read it. And he don't know it. And he will teach it. And then we won't have so many people not knowing what is God and the whole purpose of everything when we got all these churches on every other corner. But nobody knows nothing. All these churches in every corner and in the worst neighborhoods. What's up with that? You got every other block, you got a church in the hood, and the hood is still jacked up as ever, right? So what are they doing out there? Stealing the people's money, stealing the poor people's money. Pastor, take your money and go right back to the suburbs and live his life while you in the hood trying to figure things out. That's crazy, right? So it says, they are greedy dogs, which can never have enough. They are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way. That's why we got so many different denominations out here. They all look into their own way. And they don't understand the Bible. It's supposed to be one mind, one body, one understanding when it comes to this book. Not this, that, and everybody got their whole little shebang on how this thing go. That's not how this works. There's only one truth, and that's it. And ain't no multiple truths like Oprah Winfrey say. Like, well, maybe you know you can. It's more than one. No, it's not. It's one truth. You ain't gonna get that in the church. It says they come and say, I will fetch wine, and we will fill ourselves with strong drink, and tomorrow it'll be the same. Because they know the congregation is sleeping dumb as hell. They know that they can continue preaching the same bull crap and get the same results because all the people are gonna do come in every Sunday and give them more money because that's why it says they come and say we'll fetch wine because wine is a fancy way of saying like expenses just expensive stuff or expensive drinks luxury stuff right. Says we'll fill ourselves with strong drink and tomorrow we'll do the same meaning look, this gonna last forever. Long we keep this hustle going in this church thing. You know how many ex pimps is pastors, especially on the west side of Chicago. You go to the west side of Chicago and ask pastor what he used to do. 9 times out of 10, especially if he's a little older, he gonna tell you he used to pimp. That's what he gonna tell you. And he brought that to the church building too, pimping. That's why they say, come ye and I will and to what it says and tomorrow's it should be the same as today and much more abundant, So you got a Creflo Dollar wanting him a jet, the guy wanting him a Novato watch, so they thinking about how they can increase themselves more and more off y'all and not even giving y'all the truth to what's really going on out here, right? So, and let me tell you, let me go to Malachi 2:7, right? But we got to understand how to read these pastors, how to judge these pastors, and how to see who's really what's really what. Because these people out here just misleading the people. And if you don't have no understanding, you're gonna be out here lost in the sauce, and you don't want that. So this is where we at? When I say Malachi 2:7, so it tells you Malachi 2:7 tells you, for the priest's lips shall keep knowledge. You should be able to go to your pastor and ask him a question. He should be able to tell you the answer, not, oh, go pray about it. Or, I don't know, go pray about it. I don't know. That's what he tell you. It says, the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek out of the law. They're supposed to be able to open up this book and tell you what's happening. Not tell you, oh, I don't know. Not freestyling. They should be able to open this up and tell you what's happening. Because it says, for the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek out seek the law at his mouth. The priest should be telling you the laws of God, not whatever he thinks should goes on. He should tell you what thus said the Lord. And he can't do that because he don't know the Bible. Then he's teaching his people also not to know the Bible because y'all looking at him as some type of religious authority. And then you just say, well, I just sit in front of him. He'll tell me what's up. And that's why we never crack open his book to understand what's really happening. So it says, for what is it? The priesthood should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth, for he is the messenger of the Lord of hosts. Right? So then it says, therefore, what is it? So it says, but ye are desperate out of the way, and ye cause many to stumble. That's what they do. They're causing a lot of us to stumble. That's why a lot of us don't believe in God. That's why a lot of us don't believe in the Bible, because they think, oh, well, it's a white man's book. Oh, well, that don't have nothing to do with me. Because the priest is not keeping knowledge. He don't have the capability to open up this Bible and show you what's happening. So that's why a lot of us depart out of the way, as I say, because we not getting the proper knowledge and being fed properly spiritually from these people, because they don't know. It says, but ye are departed out of the way. Ye have caused many to stumble. That's why a lot of us leave the church. That's why you got a lot of hell in the church. I know all of us know that, a Christian church, there's a lot of drama at, right? It says, cause many to stumble at the law. Ye have corrupt the covenant of the Levi, thus said the Lord. Therefore I will have also made you contemptible and base for all the people according as ye have not kept my ways, but have been partial in the law. Meaning they partial in the law. They teach you what they want to teach you, like tithes. They tell you, oh yeah, the law's done away with. Jesus died for the sins and the laws, and just give me your tithe money. That's basically what they're saying. But it's telling you here they're being partial. They're not telling you the whole story. We got to ask ourselves a question: what is the whole story? What's really going on? Because, like I said, once again, it's not a white man's book. This is the blackest, blackity, biggity, black book you can ever find. All right. Probably the only book that's probably next black to this is The Message to the Black Man. but for real. But I'm just saying. But we don't have that understanding because we really think this is a book of inclusion, but really this is a book of exclusion. This is a very this book is only written for a particular audience, like every other book is written for a particular audience, right? And this book audience is the Black, Hispanic, and Native American. Those are God's chosen people. This book is not made for anybody else to handle this book. If they're not a Black, Hispanic, and Native American, they need to put it down. It's stolen property, right? So Malachi, that's what it's telling you, right? Let me go to, and then, I know y'all, I'm jumping around different verses, reading a verse here, reading a verse there, but right, let me tell you why. Because we go to Isaiah, and this is how you read the Bible, right? Yeah, you can sit down and read the Bible like a novel, like, page per page. That's cool. But if you don't have the proper understanding, you're going to be lost. The Bible tells you how to read it. So I'm going to tell you what it says. We're going to go to Isaiah 28 and 10, right? So Isaiah 28 and 10 says, let me see, where are we at? Isaiah, yeah. Where are we at? Hold up. 28 and 10. Here we go, right? Yeah, Isaiah 28 and 10. So it says, for whom should he teach knowledge, right? So the prophet is asking the question, who is God going to teach this knowledge to, right? So it says, who should he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make understand doctrine? So how can we understand this book? How can we understand what's going on that was written in the scriptures, right? That's the question. And them that are weaned from the milk. So you got to be weaned from the milk, meaning you got to understand, you got to start with the little stuff of the Bible. A lot of people want to jump into the heaviness of the Bible, then they get lost. You got to start with the milk, and the milk is first keeping the laws of God. first learn how to keep the commandments, then everything else will come to you. I didn't go to no seminary school. I mean, like I said, it's just the spirit. Because once you start keeping the laws, your knowledge will increase. I'm a college dropout. I mean, too, but your knowledge will increase. Will increase once you start keeping these laws. It says, "For who shall he teach knowledge, and who should he make understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast." So you have to be taught the beginning, the basis of this thing. You just can't jump into the meat of it. You gotta be able to just like a baby. You don't give a baby food like a little newborn baby food. The baby has to have milk first before that baby can, be able to digest the meat. So we have to understand the milk first before we try to get into the heavier matters of the Bible. And you start by this with the laws. But you're not gonna learn that in church. Because pastor tell you that the laws are done away with, right? So it's telling you who should we keep, teach doctrine, right? It says, where are we at? So this is how you read the Bible. For precept must be upon precept, line upon line, line upon line. Here a little and there a little. So that's why you see me jumping to different chapters and reading different verses to prove my point, because that's how the Bible says it's supposed to be read. So, but they don't do that. You lucky, like I said, you lucky you get one verse. You go to church. Pastor might read one verse and you start freestyling for about 45 minutes. Then start singing, passing the collection plate around, right? That's how it usually goes. But like I said, you gotta know how to read the Bible. It's precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. That's how you read it. It says, and then a lot of people say, well, that's like I said, they go back to it being a white man's book, or that's a English, it's written in English. You don't think God thought about that? Check this out. It says, "For with stammering lips in another tongue, meaning another language, he will speak to his people." So that's why, we over here speaking English or whatever, or down in South America speaking Spanish, or wherever we may be scattered to. So that's why we speak these different languages. But then you have the Bible translated into these different languages, though. So people be like, "Oh, well, you got these different languages, and the Bible is not original." But look, the word, look, without getting all too deep with it, the Bible has not been tampered with. It's been translated to the languages that people speak. Yes, certain words, lose out when you translate it into a different language, but we have the manuscripts also. We have the original Hebrew manuscripts that we can go to. And that's why we go to the King James Bible, the 1611 version, because that is the closest to the manuscripts in Hebrew. You got many different translations, but a lot of us stick with the King James because the wording is similar to how it was originally written. When because you got translations and you got transliterations. Translations is like I say hi, then in Spanish is hola, right? But transliteration is I might not have that same exact word to match that word in my language, so I'm gonna find the next word that's kind of close to that word to match what that word is saying. That's transliteration, right? So like I said, so just those few those couple of verses and just that understanding kind of led me to slowly walk away from Christian church, among like other things, them being thieves and stealing. That's a whole nother story I'll probably get into. But yeah, because matter of fact, I'll tell it real quick. I had an idea. I wanted to do a charity thing for homeless people. Then I wanted to collect some money, then take that money and give it to a homeless shelter. But the thing was that it was supposed to be donations. I wanted people to donate to cause we had a little well, I wanted to do like a little little dinner thing, or little thing for the homeless people to eat. So, I gave it to the pastor. Told him the plan and whatever. He had me write it up and all that stuff, right? So then I ain't hear nothing from him, you know. And so months go by and all that stuff. But I wanted to do it for like Thanksgiving, or something like that during November time or whatever, right? So I ain't hear nothing from him. So at this time too, though, I'm still struggling back and forth, like with this whole going to church on Sunday thing too, because pastor wanted me to kind of do a little teaching, but I was telling my mom, I'm like, well, shoot, if you want me to, kind of, uh, teach a certain subject, I would do it on Saturday, but I'm not gonna do it on Sunday, right? So that was where I was at with it. So so yeah, it's like so so it's like so pastor, so I go there, right? So it's that summer, right? So there's that summer that because like November, so the new year come whatever, right? So then that spring or whenever it's warm outside, so they did the thing. So I didn't know. So I rolled up there. I see them doing stuff. I kind of and it made me mad because they was selling the food. I'm like, how the this is supposed to be for homeless people? Homeless people ain't got no damn money. What are you selling this shit for? We supposed to get donations, and then and then we take that money and help the homeless, not like, what are y'all doing? They doing it backwards. And then, I mean, like I said, then the whole selling and at the church and all that stuff. A lot of the churches they do bake sales and all these different things, and we forget that Jesus went into the temple and whoop people and beat people up for selling in the church. But everybody want to follow Jesus though, right? And they don't understand that this, like you making the church into like currency change, outlet. That's not what we should be doing. So that was another turn. That was a big turn off for me. So other than the whole me scared of getting the mark of the beast, then when I saw how Pastor got down on that, he took my idea and then he made money and profit off of it. And the whole idea was not to make money and profit. Like if we did, it was supposed to go to a homeless shelter, but that never happened. Of course, because we're dealing with the Demon Christian Church. So that never happened. So then, like I said, I ain't gonna be too long. I'm just gonna give y'all a couple little things to prove, to lead y'all in the right direction, right? To understanding that we are the children of God, Israelites, right? So now you can read this. Everybody probably got a Bible. If you don't, you can get one. It's Deuteronomy 28, right? So now when you read the chapter of Deuteronomy 28, it's the blessings and the curses that God promised that He's going to do to Israel. So now this is what church don't teach you. To understand the Bible, you have to understand prophecy. 2/3 of this book is prophecy. If you take 2/3, look, this is the whole book right here, right? Now I'm holding this little flap in my hand, right? That's say like this is, you know, that's all this stuff up here is all prophecy. So we have to understand the prophecies, and that's how you understand this book, and that's how you know this book is true, because God said this was going to happen, and then it happened. So when people say, "Well, I don't believe in the Bible," that's because they never been taught prophecy. So when you understand the prophecies don't lie. They can either be true or fake, and then you can measure the truthness of it on if it happened or not. So now this is a Deuteronomy 28, right? Let me start at 15. So it says, "But it shall come to pass if no, I'm start at 14. Hold on, start at 14. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee today, to the right or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them." Right. So when you get into Deuteronomy 28, like I said, God has given us. We basically coming into contract with God. We're getting a contract. That's what the covenant is. We're getting a contract. The children of Israel getting this contract. And God said, okay, you do this, you do that, then you're going to be the coldest of the coldest. And if you don't do this, you're going to be on the bottom, which we are today. Because if you read the book, you will see that we never really got around to keeping all his commandments, and that's why we stuck here in America today and elsewhere. But um, so yeah, it says um, and thou shalt should not go and serve other gods, but it shall come to pass. Now, whenever you see it shall come to pass, that's a future prophecy, and it's coming from the Lord. So it says, but it shall come to pass if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of thy God to observe to do all these commandments which I command thee this day, that all these curses should come upon thee, right? And we should know that a curse is not a good thing, right? Curses is a bad thing, right? So God is saying if you don't listen, all these curses gonna come upon you, right? So now, like I said, I ain't gonna certain things I can say and I can't say because you know Big Brother watch. But you know those people with the and the stuff on their head. Let's see if this matches them, right? So it says start at 6, go to 16. Cursed shall be cursed shall thou be in the city, in the field. So who's cursing the city and cursing the field, right? Those so-called people with the and the curly stuff on the side, they not cursing the city. They own the city. They got buildings. They got hotels. You know, they not cursing the city, but who's cursing the city? We are. First fired, last hired, getting shot down in the streets. The Arab man is the man that works at the gas station. He's just as dark as us. A lot of them. You don't see the police shooting them down in the streets, putting their neck on they knee on his neck, or the so-called African man that come over here. This they want to call us African, but you don't see no Africans getting shot down in the streets. But we are. It's a spiritual thing because, like I said, this is curses that God says is going to be only on the children of Israel. So it says, "Curse shall be in the city and in the field." And we know that we was cursing that field, picking cotton, picking sugar, picking tobacco. We curse today in the work field. Like I said earlier, first fire, last hire. So that cannot be the people with the and the right? So then it says, Curse shall be thy basket of thy store. Meaning it's gonna be hard for a lot of us to save up money. That's why sometimes you might have a whole bunch of money saved, and here comes somebody come and knock you in the head and take all your money. Or you might have all this money saved up because you have a plan to do something. But then all of a sudden here comes this emergency. Now you gotta, give all your money towards that, and now you're back to square one again. So it says, curse should be your bread basket, right? And your what is it? Curse should be your basket and your store. Meaning you're not gonna be able to store up your goods. You're not gonna. That's why a lot of us don't have so much. Then the little bit that we do have, we try to hold on to with our dear life. Because we ain't got too much, and that's a curse. Now these is like I said. Now you can go through this whole chapter. I'm not gonna read all this. I'm just gonna jump around to a few. But like I say, you can read this and you can see who it matches up with because these are specific things that's going to be for a specific group of people. This does not apply to everybody. And more we read, we will see that this does not apply to everybody. So it says, you jump down, go to 29. So it says, 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. So that's why we got the highest rate of mental illness. You know, you got a lot of our people just out here just outright foolish, because they just out here just foolish because the Lord struck their mind with madness. You got people out here talking to themselves, just doing crazy shit, right? Because that is the one of the curses that He put on us. That's why here in America we are the highest percentage of people that suffer from mental illness. That's not a coincidence because God said this is the curses that He's going to put on us for not following Him. So it says, where I'm at 20. Go back to let me go to 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind grope in darkness. So that's why you see a lot of people just roaming. Our people just be out in the streets. Like at least when I was a teenager or a kid, like if you was out on the streets, 9 times out of 10 you was hustling. You was probably selling drugs on the corner, doing something that you quote unquote productive. But nowadays you got people out on the street just sitting, just not doing nothing, just around. with nothing to do, you know, and that's a prophecy because it says that you shall grope. What is it? Says thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind. You know how blind people can't see. So you see these people out here lost. You see your people when you go outside, especially in the city. You see your people lost. Don't know which way is up. Just out here, just out to be out. Nowhere to go. They just want to stand on the corner somewhere. Nowhere to go. Just groping at noonday like a blind person, right? So it says, thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind grope in darkness. Thou shalt not be prosper in thy ways. So you see a lot of us try to, get things cracking and stuff, get things going, but then, like I said, because we doing it on the left hand side, a lot of our things that we do end up falling apart. Because it says we will not prosper in our ways, right? Um, where we at? But you should be only oppressed and spoiled more and more, and no man should save thee. So are we not oppressed in America and every other place they got us scattered at, right? So this is telling you who we are. This is not talking about the so-called and those people, right? They're not oppressed. They have not suffered one day of oppression. I don't care if they're talking about that stuff that happened back in the 40s. And you know what I'm talking about. Got to speak in code. That's not oppression. Try that for 500 years, right? That's not oppression. It says, just go down there. No, it says what? And we don't understand that this is our history book. I tell people all the time, it's our history book. Everybody want to know where the black man history at. It's in the Bible, but you would never know that because number one, you got those crooked ass pastors teaching you. Then you got the oppression from the government. That's like I said, you know what they say. If you want to hide something from a nigga, put it in the book, right? So it says, we got slavery in the Bible. God talks about us going to slavery. Before you learned about it in school, God told you that this was going to happen 3,000 years ago through Moses. Moses wrote this down. Moses said, what it says? It says, thy sons and thy daughters should be given into another people, right? Didn't that happen when we was on those plantations? Um, you probably born a baby, and here come master coming in, taking your baby away to sell it to the next plantation, right? That's what happened, right? It says, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fill with longing for them. Meaning you're gonna be sad, you're gonna be hurting, you're gonna be broken because they done took your babies away. Then we even got our Hispanic brothers that's trying to get here even now to this day, trying to get here to America, and their kids are getting taken away from them, being locked up in cages at the border, right? So these curses will be in cycles. Now, all these curses that's in this thing, some of them happen to all 12 tribes, but some of these curses happen to a couple 12, some of them, but they all happen. That's what we got to understand. They all happen. They're reoccurring. They're going to be reoccurring until who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ come back, whose real name is Yahweh. Because it tells you what it says. Where we at? Boom, boom, boom. And tell you in 46 that, and they should be a sign and a wonder, and they should be a sign and a wonder upon your seed forever. Meaning these curses that we're going through here in America and throughout the four corners of the world are going to be a sign for our people to wonder about forever. Meaning that it's going to be here. You see a sign, you know what that sign telling you. Go to the store that has a sign that says Jewel. Jewels have food in there. So like, all right, so that's a grocery store. So you know it. So when you see these different signs, when you see the oppression that we go through, and you start reading our history, you know that we went through slavery and our sons and our daughters got given into another people. Then when you go to 46 and it tell you that these curses will be like a sign and a wonder upon thy seed forever. It says, because thou have not served the Lord thy God with joyfulness and gladness of abundance of heart, thou shalt serve thy enemies. So that's why we stuck in America, serving our enemies, right? So it says, thou shalt serve thy enemies, who the Lord will send against you in hunger and thirst and nakedness. So everything that we want Our clothes on our back, our food, we have to get it from our enemy because we don't own no textile mills, we don't own no grocery stores, no none of that shit, right? No farms, none of that, right? So we getting it from our enemy, and that's a curse according to the Bible to do these things. We got to pay a water bill. Water falls freely from the sky. It rained yesterday, but we got to pay a water bill, right? So it says, um, where I'm at, yeah. Therefore, you shall serve thy enemy, which the Lord send against you, in hunger and thirst, and nakedness, and want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron on your neck. And you, I know we all see pictures from slavery, the yoke of iron, the little chains, the shackles they put on your neck, right? And he's going to put the yoke of iron on your neck until he have destroyed thee. So not physically destroyed like, you dead, but just mentally destroyed. So now they can take the chains off because they know that we run around just thinking we just a bunch of niggas. And so they ain't worried about us. That's why, the white man, he like, all right, they can go now. Just like we got a dog on a leash. You train that dog how to behave on that leash. After a while, you can take that leash off that dog and not have to worry about him running up the yard. And that's where we at. We in America's backyard. And they ain't got to worry about us. So it says, look, then just leave you a couple more, then get up out of here, right? Then, because like I said, I'm just trying to show you that those people with the and they ain't it. So it says, go down to black on black crime, right? Because, we talk about black on black crime. So it says, so the man that is tender among you, his eye should be so the man that's tender among you and very delicate, his eye should be evil towards his brother. Because at one point in time, you see your brother out in the streets, you'll ask him, is he okay? If he needs something, you need some help. If he out having bad times, you help him out. But now we got an evil eye towards our brother. You see another person walking down the street that looks like you, first thing you're thinking about, what this nigga gonna do? Do I gotta protect myself? Do I gotta hurt him before you hurt me? Or you might speak to somebody and they just look at you crazy, like they, looking at you like who you talking to, right? We got an evil eye towards our brother. So it says that's not the people with that and that, right? They don't do that. They don't, right? So this cannot be done because these curses, God says, is going to be on the children of Israel forever, and forever just meaning to who the world ignorantly calls Yahweh shall come back, right? So then it says, his eye should be evil towards his brother and that's black on black crime, and towards his wife. So now this man is even disrespecting his woman, not treating his woman right. Probably knocking her aside the head or doing something, right? So not only he gonna be evil towards his brothers, now he's evil towards his woman. That's domestic violence. So then they talk about single parent homes too, because it says, and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. Now, who's statistically most known for leaving their children? The black man. Who we statistically most have the most single parent homes, and this is a curse according to the Bible. That God said what happened to us. The so-called people with that stuff on their head and the curly shit hanging from the side, they don't go through that. But we do. We go through single parent homes. I grew up in a single parent home. I know a lot of people that grew up in single parent homes. I mean, I do know a few people that had their fathers in their life as well. But overall, that is the stereotype for the black man that he gonna get his girl pregnant and leave her, right? Or he's not gonna treat her right. That's a stereotype, and it's all based off of Deuteronomy 28 and 54. Because we did not follow God's laws. That's why he put these curses on us. So it says, so we got black on black crime, single parent homes, right? I'm gonna last curse, I'm gonna leave it alone. So then we go down to 68. It's the final curse in the chapter 28. And so it says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, right? So this is talking about slavery. Us coming over here to this side of the world on slave ships. Now, when you get a Bible lexicon, Bible dictionary, the word Egypt means bondage, or narrow passage, or how we might say here today, between a rock and a hard place. So that word Egypt was not the name of the land during that time. It was called Mizraim. Egypt is a name that just stuck with it over time. Just like that stuff happens all the time. People will call something a name. That's not necessarily what it is, but throughout time, that's just what people call it, right? Just like the word, you know, fag. Fag was a bundle of sticks, but now that word fag means something else. So it says, the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt not see it no more again. Meaning, we're not going to see our homeland again. And we haven't seen our homeland again. We've been here in America. Those so-called people with the and they go there back. They got family over there. They go back and forth sometime, right? But we don't, because the Bible says, part of the prophecy, that we're not going to see our homeland again, and we haven't. We haven't been back to Israel since we've been on this side of the world, right? So it says, "Thou shalt not see it no more again," right? And there you shall be sold. So what happened to us when we got off those slave ships? We were sold. And who were we sold to? Our enemies. That's what it says. And the Lord shall bring you into Egypt again on ships. And by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt not see it no more again. And thou shalt be sold unto your enemies for bondman and bondwomen, meaning slave man, slave woman, and no man shall buy you. And that word buy is a Hebrew it's an old Hebrew slang way of saying redeem. Because back then you were able to redeem if your people fall into hard time, you can pay to get them back. But God said in this captivity, no one is going to be able to pay to get us out. And that's why we're still stuck here even after they took the chains off. Because according to the scripture, the prophecy, it says no one's going to be able to buy us and get us out of this captivity. Martin Luther King tried, Malcolm X tried, Marcus Garvey tried, any one of those civil rights leaders you can think of tried, but they failed. Why? Well, the most important reason why is because Yahweh Shai is coming back, and He wants that glory. He wants people to know that He got us out of these places. So He didn't want to give that credit to Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or none of them. He wanted, because if Malcolm X freed us and got us out of this place, or Martin Luther King got us out of this place, or Marcus Garvey, we'll be praising them. We'd be like, oh, these people are so great. Oh, yeah, they got us out here. Now we got this whole land and doing X, Y, Z. So God didn't want to give that credit to no one else. He wants that credit. So that's why He's waiting to the last end. He's going to show everybody what's cracking, and we up out of here. So, now, with that being said, I ain't going to be too long. I already was long enough. I wasn't planning on being this long. But, so that's the reason and what led me to understanding the truth of the Bible, that the Black, Hispanic, and Native American, Negro, and Indian descent is the Israelites. Okay, not those people with the curly shit going on. All right, and then we got to come back to the truth of the Bible and understand who we are, follow the commandments, so we can get up out of here. That's what we need to be doing, because we're going. I don't know if I can. You see how America is. Does this look like it's going to last for another 50 years? I don't think so. Especially with Russia over there. I don't know. So we got to understand what's happening and come back to the truth of the Bible. So with that, I'm going to say shalom to y'all, and let's get up out of here. Peace.